Hello, my name is Francis Fox, and I'm a galactic shaman. And those skills that allow me to call myself that are becoming increasingly important. Let's start by saying that this Francis Fox News from Other Dimensions is a telenovela. What is a telenovela? A telenovela is a Hispanic soap opera. So full of drama. Who's going to believe it? But they're a lot of fun to listen to. So I'll keep myself out of legal troubles by saying that all of this is a telenovela. And you know that several years ago they started to do shows, and the word telenovela became very popular because Anglos understood that people really like to see all of that emotion and all of those messes. So this is a telenovela. So what does this telenovela have to do with today? I'm going to go over several things, including the map of the United States that looks excellent. Oh my God. You would never know by looking at news that things are excellent. And let me go ahead and get it up, even though not going to talk about that first. I'm going to talk about something else. There's going to be a new type of royalty on the planet. The old royals, gone. The old royals, I guess their power was based on inheritance having to do with land, and which is what was power when the whole royalty thing started. And then the bloodlines that continued, the inheritances, the reason why the Catholic Church, 352 years after Christ died, in the Council of Nicaea, they said that Christ didn't have sex because of bloodlines. Because if the priests um, didn't have sex, they wouldn't have kids. And if they didn't have kids, then when they died, everything the priest owned would go to the church. And in those centuries, all the families, the big families and the well-to-do families always gave one of their children over to the service of God. So it was an intelligent economic decision, basically screwed up the planet. And now we have population collapse, but not in the countries that are not Christian. Please connect the dots. Let's quit with the disinformation about Jesus Christ, the people that use them for a marketing tool and use them today um, as a marketing tool. And you'll notice that Charlie Kirk, who looked like a very, very nice man, had a whole organization built around him, Christian, and we're talking now about murder. You know what? Maybe there shouldn't have been that organization, and all that money should not have come in, and the poor man should have been allowed to do whatever it was that he wanted to do. Anyway, so getting back to royalty. So, what is going to be the new royalty? If the original royalty started with landed people that owned a lot of land and then they had command over a lot of people, then the new royalty is going to be people like Elon Musk, who have command over technology. And I believe also eventually command over other dimensions. Now, I must be getting ready to talk about something important because I need a Kleenex. Now, what does one thing have to do with the other? The really bad spirits come in through around here, a portal here, and they affect the nose. So whenever I start to do this, no, I'm not on cocaine or whatever it is that people take in through the nose. I'm not. It means I'm going to say something important. So I gave so much of a preamble to the Kleenex that now I forgot what I was going to say. I discovered a symbol, and this is it. And I energized it, vitalized it with my intentions. And it turns out that that symbol is allowing me and my followers to move up into dimensions that are associated with the planet, but that have not been available before. I'm not saying that there haven't been certain people throughout history that haven't accessed it. What I'm saying is that we are accessing it now. And of course, it has all to do with revelations. And it also has all to do with how people are much more evolved. I mean, our behaviors got awful, but in terms of evolution and be able to see and operate in other dimensions, really good. So that that new dimension, the people that are able to work it and work in it, and it's the dimension, by the way, where magic can happen, they will be the new royalty. So the fact that the royalty is collapsing today basically means that what made them powerful, which was land, is no longer what's power on the planet. So let's go on to what I'm going to review next. And do I need my Kleenex? I sure do. Let's do the US map, which is behind me, but I'm going to put on screen so you can see the whole thing. This is a remote viewed map. This is not what I want. This is not what I'm building my intention on. This is what's happening in the other dimensions today. And it may not have manifested completely, but it's on its way here. And this is what's going to happen, or is already the reality on the physical dimension. At the top, we have the usual Canada. Its vibration is total depression, black, not good. The United States, we have the green flow frequency, excellent. Before it was blue and red and pink, male, female, and now it's green. Green is the color of the heart chakra, and it's the color of healing, which is really good. Then you have a Merkaba with two different colors. The vector that points up is in Nile green, which means healing. And that vector represents physical reality. And it would appear to me that it needs to mean that economically we're getting totally solid. And then the vector with the point down is blue, which is a color of communication, and a color having to do with the throat chakra, which is the first energy center that connects with off planet. Everything from here forward is going to have to do with how well you deal with off planet, how well you synchronize with them, how much you can understand them, rather than what most people are going to go into, which is just simply a reaction out of fear or anger. People in power today, if they don't know how to deal with what is getting mixed into our reality on planet Earth, which is ETs, good and bad, they're not going to be able to stay in power. Or they're going to take their people to a really bad place of fear. But anyway, and then inside of it, there's another Merkaba. So you have a Merkaba with green and blue, which is great. That's Galactic Federation protection for the United States. Then you have another one that's purple, closer in. I don't know why it's smaller. It's not bad. It's good. But you have two. There's a circle of red on the right side of the map as you look at it, and it says nuclear bomb. Please, God, tell me that somebody is not so upset at the fact that they've lost all their power that they're considering a nuclear bomb. Please. I can only put there what I get. I can't fix it, and I'm not supposed to do to you what everybody has done until now with Twitter that lets everybody say everything. I'm not going to hold it back just because it seems to be such a god-awful possibility. But I would imagine the deep state has got to be really frustrated with Trump. And in the Caribbean, in the Gulf of Mexico, but it includes the Caribbean, you got pink triangles. They love Trump. I don't care what people say or what presidents, like in Mexico, say about Trump to the public. I am telling you that what this map is saying is that many countries in the Caribbean, Gulf are happy with Trump because what he's doing with the cartels. Basically, I guess all of those countries, their lives were in danger if they didn't play by the rules of the game of the cartels. I had never sketched that before. Normally it was green pyramids, which indicated tremendous stability, but this is really, 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 really good. I was very happy with that. And we have Florida, and then one half of Texas. Why one half? Still don't know. The color of the heart chakra, the color of healing, green, and then there's a line that unites them, and then there's a little heart. So I think that Elon Musk and Trump are in love again, which is really good for this country because Florida is, I bet you I took that map down. I did. Florida in Feng Shui is helpful friends and travel. And Texas is the coccyx of the United States, which is pointed like a stake so that you are real anchored into the earth energy, which in the Lord's Prayer, it doesn't say in the original Aramaic, in a god awful translation, but what we were all taught, it says, protect us from evil. That is not what the Lord's Prayer said. It said, help us to be in the present, which means not disassociated, which means grounded and landed. And in the human energy system, that grounding and landing is the coccyx. There we go. I said something important. I don't have a cold. This week, I learned this several years ago. Okay, so let's continue on the telenovela. I think, Trump, that as you're looking for the Cuban cartel and where they're at and what they infiltrated, I think there's somebody that you should speak to. His name is Eduardo Padron, and he was a really big deal in the Cuban power structure in Miami, and the government in Washington made him a really big deal, which doesn't mean anything bad. I'm not saying he did anything bad. Actually, I do have a complaint about him, but Trump, you should really look into him. I think it might be very interesting. The bad thing I have to say about him is because he sent somebody to come and take a photograph of my backyard to go to the black magician to do black magic on me. Now, why would he do this? I haven't actually said his name or thought of him for a long time. He's part of the school system. I think he was president of Miami-Dade Community College. It's a very powerful position. What the hell is he doing in black magic? Oh, he's Cuban in the power structure. You should speak to him, but don't bother discussing with him in terms of what he's trying to do with me and why. Just check him out. That's all. While you're at it, I want you to know that the reason my hair has this god-awful color, the reason why my eyebrows look so strange, like they're going down the hair rather than up, is because the Vatican is still doing satanic rituals on me. My third eye, they want me dead, but they're really, really working on my third eye. So my eyebrows are shot to hell. My hair color was like, what the heck happened here? My hairline, I'm not going to have a hairline. If Trump, you allow the Catholic Church, the Vatican, to continue with all of their power. So trolley on and put them at the head of the class, the head of the people that you're going to confront with their Satanism, said by one of their own bishops, which they're trying to excommunicate, because I want my hairline. I want my eyebrows. They're not able to affect my vision, my inner vision, but yes, my physical body. So put them there. I had a very strange dream and I didn't understand it. Thank God somebody said, write it down, you'll get it. I got it. In the dream, one of my grandkids came to me and said, Wela, I want to introduce you to somebody at the Vatican. Oh, no. He said, I want to introduce you to the new Pope. I love this grandson. So I went with him, and the new Pope, the Pope, he was dressed in a business suit. So the cartels weaponized the Hurricane Melissa to destroy Cuba. Didn't happen. My group interfered, thank God, or it appeared that we made a difference because they wanted to use Cuba as their home base. Because Trump, you're doing such a great job. So maybe you're doing a great job, or somebody's doing a good job at ripping the mask off of the Vatican. Not Jesus Christ, the Vatican, which everybody knows are hiding everything. And so now they're going to they're going to present as business people. Now, I can tell you already that they are very actively, which is one of the reasons why they're so angry at me, because I found it in the middle of one of my sessions with my Mantrista movement followers. They want into Venezuela really bad. They're actually already there. They want to be a power player in Venezuela via business, also via their religious front, using Jesus Christ as a marketing tool. But they want to be power players in Venezuela. And they're already active. They're already there. They named two saints at the same time in Venezuela. Has that ever happened before? I got to get the people in Venezuela to love the Vatican. But according to this great dream, they're going to be dressed in business suits. And that makes all the sense in the world. But really, all the rest of that, throw it out the window. I want my eyebrows back. I want, who the hell knows? I don't even want to look at my forehead. But I can tell you, my hairline is not doing good, and my coloring is not working because of them. So take care of it. You like for people to take care of themselves, Trump. Help me out here. Okay. I think you really need to go after New Jersey having to do with the covens, the black magicians, all of those people. There's just too many people that originate from there or were from there. Too many people, and many that you don't even know about Trump. I would go directly and find out. Now, you don't need to take down the black magicians. They're just earning a living. What is it that the people that are political and business people, what are they doing there? What are they asking to be done to other people? That seems to be a really dark area. We still have the Menendez, I think it's his son, who's a senator or a representative, father in jail, Cuban, good friends with my handler, Rene de Villegas. I think you should don't take any time away from the getting the Vatican to get off of my back, having to do with my third eye and my life. But I think you should check out everything, every politician, everything having to do with New Jersey. That seems to be a really deep black hole. Okay. You know that I got a contract for a natural resource in one of the bigger countries in Latin America. And even though I had read for my handler, Rene de Villegas, who charged a ton of money that none of which got to me, this was a contract that I got from. I was shocked when I realized that most of my time had to be spent in protecting my clients and then protecting me because of the habit of everybody involved in natural resources, which means millions and millions and millions of dollars, the habit of using the most effective tool on the planet to achieve your goals, which is magic. Now, I am developing white magic because I think that people should be magical. The problem is that the only people that develop that having to do with an understanding and practicing and taking it to an incredible level of effectiveness were black magicians. And the only thing available in all the cities where they all have some type of black magician, curandero, brujo, palero, santero, whatever, their practices are mainly, not always, because they can, if your child is sick, a lot of the people start out with all of that because they have a kid who's sick. The doctors couldn't do anything and they take them to a magician and the magician takes care of it. Well, that's the kind of stuff that I'm teaching my followers, but learning it myself, which is white magic with ethics and very firmly adhering to the law that God imposed as the first law of the planet, which is free will. And by the way, being a helicopter mother is canceling out free will. And I was a helicopter mother, and I have apologized for that. I'm not going to cut my wrists, but I have apologized for that because you do take away people's free will. And I have to remind myself when I want to take care of my grandkids and my kids that if somebody had taken care of me, I wouldn't have all these skills. I had to be completely devastated in torture and rape and horrifying things because then, which is why they did it, you cannot get away. Your physical body is not yours. Somebody has it trapped. So you go into your mind and you go very deep So you don't have to be there for whatever the hell they're doing to your body. And in doing that, you develop incredible skills. So back to the whole thing with the cartels. I don't think that there is a cartel out there that could exist today where the baseline tool that they use is not black magic. Now, that applies to the deep state, which is a type of cartel. Totally applies to the Vatican because that's what started the whole ripping off the mask having to do with the Catholic Church in Miami. When I could feel somebody was doing something really god awful to me, and I tracked it, and I ended up in a morgue in a Catholic hospital on the water in Miami near Grove Isle. Everybody knows which one it is. And there was a dead body on the table in the morgue. They had cut it top to bottom vertically, and they were inserting photographs of me. And one photograph would be up and the other one would be down, which creates a lot of mental confusion. And when I brought my followers the next day and I said, let's read the situation to practice up, whoa, all the stuff that came out, including that there is no way that they're going to be able to cover this up, even if they throw everything out, because there's so many people, the guys that drive the ambulances, the people that clean there, and the scaredy cats that if you ask them a question and say they're going to land in jail, they're going to respond. There's no way you can cover this up. So that's how we ended up. So we have the Vatican as a cartel. Baseline, their power is Satanism, which is basically black magic, but the yuckiest. It's if you know enough about it, you've seen enough about it, and you've been submitted to enough of it, you go, it's all basically the same thing. Obviously, what I'm saying is an exaggeration, but so you have the Vatican as a cartel, and they do that. Cuban cartel, can't get more expert than them. You know how bad it got that years ago, I got a message that the paleros in Cuba, the paleros are like Santeria, but at a higher level. They have a training that's 10 years long. One of the years, I believe, they have to be all in white, only dress in white. So it's pretty obvious what you're doing. But the paleros 1 year, apparently so many Cuban mafioso political business guys asked them to do black magic on me that they kind of got together and said, why are we doing this to this woman? Because we're not seeing that she's doing anything wrong. And they decided they weren't going to do any more black magic on me. I don't know how long that lasted. And I don't know if it was 5 paleros that got together or 25, even though they do have a strong group. And every year in January, they give out a report to everyone about what's happening astrologically, what kind of herbs to use. They're really good at a lot of things, except they're incredibly strong black magicians. So I thought that was kind of funny that there was so much being done on Francis Fox. I'm trying to remember what house I lived in. Maybe I could tell you the year. It doesn't really matter. I would say it was 15 years ago. I don't know how long that truce lasted. Anyway, but the Cuban mafiosos from the cartel, they work with those paleros and with other countries, and that's where they get their protection, having to do with the coccyx that you're seeing here, Texas. Their coccyx. They pay, I think it's like $20,000 per person to have their coccyx attached to a huge tree in the mountains, a place that's uninhabited, that's totally natural, so that they can have that rooting. And oh, God damn it. So that they can have the rooting that's in the Lord's Prayer. Meanwhile, all the rest of the nice white people, by the way, the Cuban mafias are all white people, all the nice white people are only being fed the Lord's Prayer that does not tell you that. I just realized that ritual of theirs is because they understand the Lord's Prayer, the original Aramaic, and we're running around following the translation that turns you into a victim. Trump, this whole thing with the Christianity thing, you need to figure out your relationship with it, because Christianity is going down. Jesus Christ is not going to go down, but Christianity is going down. Too many people took advantage. The whole thing with Charlie Kirk. By the way, I think you need to address that issue. I think we all know that there were shenanigans there. And if you're going to use the Pam Bondi excuse, because I know it comes from her, let's get this all totally under control. And when we have it totally under control, then we'll talk to the public. I don't think you should do that, because that's what's been done to us forever. It's not working. Address that situation and don't let the people that want to continue the old habits and roll them into today, because with places like X, you're not getting away with it. You're going to get crucified. You're listening to the wrong person. And I think it's a person. Maybe it's a group of people, but you're listening to the wrong people. You have to address that issue, because it's becoming a poison. It's too obvious to everybody. You don't have to have a degree in anything. You don't even need to have glasses on. And it's trashing Christianity. And maybe that's what needs to happen, Trump. But I would prefer that you be on the right side of that issue. And at this point, too many people have too many opinions, and then they're being shut down by your people in the government. Anyway, let me stop on that. Back to the cartels. The baseline power that they have, from what I could see from that one contract, was black magic. Baseline. And you don't know anything about black magic. The nice people don't know anything about black magic. And then when somebody puts a third eye there, which is a great symbol, your people put it on the dollar bill. No. This is conspiracy. Yeah, the conspiracy is starting with the Lord's Prayer. You got the wrong version. And why did you get the wrong version? Do you know how many years people have been saying the Lord's Prayer wrong? That's a big conspiracy. I don't think Jesus Christ would be very happy with that. And I don't think Jesus Christ would have been very happy with a large organization like what was built around Charlie Kirk. I don't think so. And I'm wondering how you're going to handle population collapse if everybody continues to be okay with Jesus Christ never having had sex, but he was born a human. The two don't fit. We're in Revelations. Everything needs to make sense. And as I say, it needs to be that you're a kid in school, you come home, you tell your mother a story. If you tell your mother that story about Jesus Christ and his mother and father never had sex, why did you need two people? If Jesus didn't have sex, if his mother didn't have sex, why was there a man and a male and a female? You didn't need that. You could have just had the mother. It's not holding together. It's not holding together. And I'm no longer worried about the ETs thinking we're stupid. They already know that. I'm worried about everybody thinking that we've been so stupid. I'm not supposed to use that word stupid, am I? Okay. The most important thing I have to say today is this. And I said it for a lot in the beginning of this telenovela chat podcast. You do not have a clue how invasive, extensive the whole sex trafficking situation is. And I said it before Trump. I said it many times, and I don't know that you were able to listen. You can't run around saying that you're going to, what DeSantis said, death penalty to those that rape under 12. That was part of the mind control programming. There are so many people involved in the sex trafficking, which is mind control programming. So many that you're going to find like practically nobody that doesn't have something to do with it, which doesn't mean they're bad people or that they even knew what they were involved in or that they wanted to be involved in. They talk about the Epstein list. Now, Trump lied. There's no Epstein list. I'm sure there's not a list. There's all sorts of evidence. But if there were a list, it wouldn't surprise me if my name weren't on there. It wouldn't surprise me. My handler, Rene de Villegas, was from New Jersey. And then he comes to Miami and he completely takes over whatever, Covens and construction and the whole 9 yards. And Jeffrey Epstein is right there in Palm Beach. Oh, and when I decided that I didn't care if he killed me, he was my handler, and I totally obedient. His daughter told my kids that he was my lover. But he's not my lover. He was my handler. And unfortunately, whatever the handler wants, the handler gets, because they're threatening your kids. But that's not the point. The point of the matter is that 7 or 8 years ago, I don't really know how long ago it was, when I basically said, I really don't care, just kill everybody, kill me, kill everybody, was because Renee de Villegas said to me, I think I'm going to get one of your granddaughters into the sex trafficking network. I went ballistic. Did I go ballistic in front of him? I don't actually remember. But I did start to talk and talk things that I would have never have dared done before. It was like that. I can't. It doesn't matter. Just let everybody die. Everybody should die. Nobody should have to live like this. I'm telling you, it's one hell of a royal mess, but it involves such a large percentage of people that I don't know that, other than a total collapse of society, how this is going to be taken care of. I don't know, but definitely there. I was going to say think tank. No think tanks. I already know about American think tanks. They have to do with mind control, controlling information. There has to be some kind of a thought process that has to include people that understand, that were on the inside and could kind of see the way this works, to be able to have like a full report, so that when this all comes out, that could be next week, um, that people can have a place to put it. They don't have a place to put this information. I can just see it. Let's say my name's on that list. It doesn't exist, but but I thought I already told you that I was involved in that. And you've been witnessing me trying to get out from this guy who's still active because the government never picked him up. He still has all the power in Miami, no longer today. He's down to like maybe 5% of the power. But people can't get it. They want it to be light. They want it to be dark. They want it to be over with. I used to have a service. I used to work with a girl on Pilates. Every week she would work. I would do a Pilates private session because I have spinal cord damage, so couldn't do the regular groups. And I told her some stories about my life, whatever. The day that I told her that this stuff was still happening, she dropped me. She didn't believe me. She was okay with believing that it had happened when I was a child, a teenager, or 20 years ago. She could not handle that it was still going on today. And she was a really savvy person. She liked me a lot. We had wonderful conversations. She couldn't handle it. She couldn't handle it. That's what's going to happen to the public when they find out. They're not going to handle it. They just want to kill everybody. Well, you can't kill everybody because you're going to get left, which I guess is the reason why they never. Oh my God. That's the reason why they never put out all these names, because everything will collapse. But it doesn't have to all collapse if people can understand how it happened, and an understanding that the level of your involvement. I don't even have the phraseology. I don't have the terms, but I can see why people would have withheld the information. I talked to my family 30 years ago. I said to my family, none of you know this, but I need to tell you, I was involved in this program and I've been working basically as a secret spy as I'm having you kids and raising you. And of course, everybody thought I went crazy. Everybody thought I was mentally ill. That's it. And I'd say to people, or that I was lying. And I said to people, do you think I'm a liar? And they go, no. Do you think I'm trustworthy? Absolutely. But you don't believe my story. Well, and I'd say, but see, if I say the story and you don't believe it, then I must be lying. But you're telling me, and a lot of people always said this to me, I was the most truthful person they had ever met. It's that the story, the reality of this with the sex trafficking and child trafficking is so big, and there's so much black magic to put people to sleep, it's unmanageable. So maybe you're already dealing with that, Trump. And then you have, of course, the ones that they're setting up, they're bringing in, and I don't know if they're mind control victims or they're just paying them to try to take down people that didn't have anything to do with it. And the truth shall set you free, but I think there's going to be a collapse with the truth. I think there's going to be a collapse with the truth. No, let me take that back because I'm a psychic. I don't think there will not be a collapse, but it's going to be messy. And I would think that maybe there needs to be an understanding that at the same time, the people that need to be stopped. There has to be effort and money and time put into the people that were trapped in the system. I'm talking about that day when Rene de Villegas said to me, thinking of putting one of your grand daughters in the sex trafficking, whatever. That would have been 7 or 8 years ago. And I was in this program. I was born into the program. So we're talking 70 years. That's 70 years of evidence of bad things controlled by Washington, by the way. I had a Cuban handler, but the main controls were always in Washington. So this is going to be tough. I know it's coming out because you're already talking about the big names in Washington having to do with mind control, the whole ties with the Nazis. So I know must be coming out, I believe, within days. That's all a setup, trying to get people prepared. But you're doing the whole conspiracy thing. You're still doing the white and the black. And the problem with, now I get it, the problem with the whole sex trafficking and mind control and child trafficking is it's not black and white. It's not black and white. You have a major politician in this country that is totally, viciously being blackmailed. I don't know what they're setting him up for, but they're setting him up. He's set up. And unfortunately, through remote viewing, and I was not looking for it, I could see what they did to him, which included having him be raped by several men. And it was interesting because he said something that I said decades ago when they wanted me to do something I didn't want to do. And it wasn't that, to you, it would not be that god awful, but it was taking me off a path that I wanted. And I said, okay, I'll do it. Okay, no problem. They wanted me to switch something having to do with the university. Well, they didn't believe me. They set me up for a weekend of deprogramming. And I said, I'll do it. It's okay. I can do it. I mean, it's not that big a deal. So this is not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun. The revelation is not going to be fun. And people do not understand their own inner darkness. They don't understand other people's darkness. They don't want to see it. They want to do the whole Christian thing of everything is good and everything is wonderful. And meanwhile, the darkness goes unchecked and invades even the light. So I think I've said enough. So this telenovela is over. We all know that none of this is true. Figments of my imagination. Oh, darn, but it's a whole storyline. Yeah, it makes for a good book, a good movie. I'm going to end on a good note. I'm going to put up here again the sigil that I designed, which is the fox peace symbol. It's a sigil when it is really infused with intentions, which I did. It is dedicated to Trump. And look what you can do with it. You can visualize yourself. You can visualize the symbol inside of you, and then you get the protection at the top that Jesus Christ didn't get with his cross, which is why you see this that's on screen now. For those of you seeing the, you can click on it to this chat. But we are using this symbol, and it's magical. It has basically what I tried to infuse it with, which is superpowers. And I'm going to say this, and I think I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Trump, I think your family needs to have a symbol as a family. Not that you need it. I mean, just we all need protection, but I just think like royalty in the past, they have the family crest. I think that you should have a symbol that would symbolize what it is that your family is doing, because you're not just doing it for the United States. When I did this graphic, and I'm sorry that I'm extending this, when I did this graphic of the United States and I sketched the energies, I was surprised that at the bottom there's so many Merkabahs in pink, and that is the gratitude and the stability from the countries and the stabilities that you're giving the countries that line the Caribbean, and the because of what you're doing with the cartels. And I think it's big, and I think we were having so much fun with this symbol and using it in so many ways, visualizing it, printing it out, putting it next to the children's bed. And remember that the bottom is like a stake, and that adheres to what the Lord's Prayer was telling us: be very rooted and grounded, and you won't need protection from anything. So, anyway, that's it. Another long podcast. Thank you. I'm Francis Fox.